I mean, I'm so sorry to hear that, but I've heard this before too. The establishment tries to, in order to kind of maintain their credibility, would have to talk about you as a case of misdiagnosis and
Yeah.
mistreatment, as if there's all these cases where they are having an effective response. But you are the prototype, really. You're somebody, you serve this country. You were in combat. You had the reaction, the response that would be expected in those situations if you weren't detached from your emotional states, right? There are certain people that can just detach completely from their emotions and they live their
Mhm.
life that way. And then we call that sane, we call
Mhm.
that stable. But you have a human reaction, and then you get harmed by their treatments. And their treatments are drugs. You go all the way up to 18 drugs. I don't know how that's not malpractice.
It should be. I've considered the VA for what they did to me, but I think they would say that's standard of care. You were that sick that we had to put that much med on you. I don't know.
Yeah,
Gaslighting,
yeah,
you
which
know?
you can't say both. You can't say that you were never mentally ill and then say you were horribly sick and you required 18 different drugs.
Yeah.
Right? It's at some point you come back and you shine the light on the paradigm, on what is the standard of care in inducing that type of harm. So it seems
Yeah.
like if you I believe you receive that label that is inevitable for anyone who stays in psychiatry long enough, and that's
Mhm.
treatment
Treatment resistant.
resistant.
Oh, yeah. I actually got that from a civilian provider. I got fired twice. Um, I think the one that put me on the 18 was a civilian provider, and she fired me, and that led me back to VA. VA, I found a new doctor there, and he said, "Who put you on all these meds?" And I was like, "Well, it was a combination between one VA doc that I lost as a provider because of the turnover, and then a civilian provider picked me up, signed off on that, and added more to the cocktail." And so then that psychiatrist cold turkeyed me off of 10 or 8, I don't remember, but he left me on like half of them. And I went through a horrible hospitalization for 30 days getting cold turkeyed off 10 drugs. I hallucinated. I mean, I was terrified. There was people with like serious mental illness diagnoses in the hallway, and I would talk to them and they made sense to me, and I was like, I told the doctor, like, you got to get me out of here, like I'm going to completely lose it. And then I went through like 2 years where I was so angry. It was like this rage that, and now I look back, I was like, that was probably mild akathisia and I just didn't recognize it at the time. But nobody could talk to me. I tried to go to AA to get some kind of community. I was not an alcoholic, never have been, but I was like, I need people, you know? So, yeah. And then it took me another 10 years to get off the rest.
So, Angie, maybe you can offer some insight here. I'm sure people who are listening are asking this question. How in the world can a medical professional, a physician, cold turkey someone, take them off their drugs so rapidly without concern about what that's going to do to them physiologically? I think the average layperson would say, yeah, that's fucking nuts. Like, you can't just give a person mood and mind altering drugs and then abruptly stop those drugs. What's the mentality
It
there?
hap it happens every day. Honestly, my clients are filled. I hear hundreds of stories at this point of just like, a one-on-one session with someone for an hour when they tell me their whole story. I've heard 5 of them today. Okay, it's standard care. These doctors, as soon as you it's okay, here's the problem. You go into the doctor's office and you say, "I have really bad anxiety." They say, "Okay, let's treat it," and they give you a pill. Then when you complain of depression or like side effects or something else is gonna happen because you're gonna get an effect from that drug, they see that through the lens of mental illness, they give you another drug. Then if that cocktail doesn't happen to work, okay, well, that didn't work for you, let's try something else. So all this changing of meds and cold turkey and switching and let's get on the hospital ward, put you on meds for 3 days, see how you react. It's too fast. I don't know what else to say. The human body is not designed to have these chemicals interrupting complex neurotransmitter systems that the human mind is so incapable of understanding. And then when a mentally ill person with a diagnosis tries to report that, that's also seen through the lens of illness. It's ridiculous. So it's always the same. You get put on meds, you feel worse, then that's identified as mental illness. They don't know how to get you off. They don't even recognize this. Like we said earlier, iatrogenic. It could be coming from the meds. You're more suicidal. Let's get you off. No, that means you need more. It's just this more mentality or switch.